Today I'm going to be sharing my to be read pile for the Irish Readathon 2026. If you don't know what I'm on about, I will leave all of the information for the Irish Readathon linked down below in the description, including my announcement video and my co-host Aoife's announcement video. But essentially, the short description of what the Irish Readathon is that it is a month-long reading initiative that runs from the beginning until the end of March, so all throughout the month, where we are encouraging you to read more Irish books than you normally would. It is a very low commitment, easy readathon to join in with. If you read just one Irish book throughout all of March, then you are participating. If you want to challenge yourself with your reading or gamify it a little bit more, we do have some reading prompts, but they are entirely optional. I will be picking out a book for each of the prompts, which I'm going to talk to you about today, but also all of my reading throughout the month of March will be Irish books. It is one of my favorite months of the year, and I always read so many brilliant books. There will always be a book that I read during the Irish Readathon on my favourite books of the year list at the end of the year. If you want to join in with the Readathon a little bit more and you're posting on social media, you can use the hashtag the Irish Readathon. We also have a Storygraph page and a Discord server where you can chat to other people that are participating in the Readathon, and I will include all of the correct links this time, which I managed to fail to do in my announcement video, but they're all fixed now. Today I'm just going to be telling you about the 5 books that fulfill each of the 5 reading prompts. But as I said, all of my reading in the month will be Irish books, so I will read hopefully at least 5 more. And there is a video coming where I tell you all about my entire Irish TBR. I think there's about 20 books on the list. The first prompt is one that we have every single year, and that is to read a book with green on the cover. This doesn't even necessarily need to be an Irish book, but I prefer it if it is. It's more in the spirit of the readathon if it is. I'm going to be reading Fair Play by Louise Hegarty. This is a very recent addition to my TBR pile. I think this possibly already wins the prize for my favourite book cover of the year. It is a murder mystery about the aftermath of Abigail's brother, Benjamin, being killed. And not only does it have this mystery plot at the centre of it, but it's also an exploration of grief. It has been referred to as a jigsaw puzzle of a novel, and I have been dipping my toe into reading more thrillers and mysteries, but this feels like it'll be bringing something else to the party. I'm hoping will be a really clever and satisfying mystery novel. Next prompt is to read a book by an Irish author that has a new book coming out in 2026. So every single year is a fantastic year for Irish book releases, but I feel like there are so many amazing Irish books coming out in 2026. So this prompt is about either reading one of those new releases for the year or delving into the back catalogue of an author that has a new book coming out. And I hold in my hands a proof that I am so excited about. I have gone for the new book that is coming out in 2026. This is Whatever Happened to Madeline Stone by Louise O'Neill. Now, I actually have already pre-ordered this book, so it will arrive on my doorstep when it publishes at the start of April. But I am so lucky and so grateful to Transworld for sending me a proof of this book so I can read it early and report back to you on what I think. So this is a book about growing up famous and the pressure that can be put on you by overbearing parents. It's described as Daisy Jones and the Six meets I'm Glad My Mom Died, which was Jeanette McCurdy's incredible memoir. Apparently it is packed with noughties, nostalgia and pop culture references, which I absolutely love. But above all, in terms of the importance of this book to me, it is a new Louise O'Neill book. Louise O'Neill is my favourite author. She can do no wrong. I have loved every single one of her books, and we are going to be blessed with not 1 but 2 books from her coming out in 2026. So this is her latest novel, but she also has a non-fiction, I think, memoir coming out later on in the year. You can bet any amount of money on the 1st of March I will be sat with this book. This is the first thing I will read. It is taking all of my self-control to hold out on reading this until the beginning of March. Our next prompt was to read a book with a really fantastic opening line. Now, I put forward this prompt in an attempt to kind of keep things fresh. There were a lot of prompts that we've used over the years and recycled, and I tried to think of something that was just a little bit different, but also gave the people the flexibility that we love about this readathon. And I was like, this basically means you can pick any book you want, really, because it's open to interpretation what you think a great first line is. And I have just gone through so many books that I have on my shelves. As I said, there are 20 Irish books on my TBR, and the pickings were actually quite slim. Like, a lot of the books on my shelves had very like simplistic opening lines. I have decided to go for a children's book. So this is The Monsters of Rookhaven by Pádraig Kenny. To be fair, I have meant to read this book a bunch of times, and I convinced myself that I needed to save it for spooky season. I don't actually need to do that. It is a spooky middle grade novel, and its opening line is, Mirabelle was in the garden feeding bones to flowers when Uncle Enoch came for her. Obviously, that is spooky and strange. Why would she be feeding bones to flowers? I am always really glad to have a children's or young adult book on my TBR for the Irish Readathon because, you know, it's just a bit of a quicker read for me. I do think Irish children's authors do spooky very, very well. Our next prompt was to read a book that started with one of the letters in the word Ireland. So this could be the title of the book. This is what I imagined it would be. But if you wanted it to be the first letter of the first sentence of the book, you could do that as well. Like, these prompts are open to interpretation. I have gone for the letter A, and I have chosen Anybody Out There by Marian Keyes. So I tend to read a Marian Keyes novel every single year for the readathon. The very first Marian Keyes book I read was Grown Ups, I think in 2020, and I'd never read any of her books before and completely loved that book, and it started this like love affair with her novels. I read a couple of her more recent books at that time, and then I went back to the very beginning and read her debut novel, and since then I have been working my way through her books in publication order, and the next one for me to read is Anybody Out There. Her books typically look at the complexity of women's lives, their personal relationships, whether that's a romantic sense or familial relationships or friendships, and largely the relationship that a woman has with herself. They are typically books about a woman that is at some sort of crossroads in her life. They're written in a very kind of conversational way that makes you feel like you're reading something that is very light and easy reading. And it is easy reading, but there are so many really important subject matters that she tackles in her books as well. This novel is about Anna Walsh, so it is part of the Walsh series of novels, where each of the Walsh sister novels follows a different like sister in that one particular family. They are definitely chunky books, but they are so quick to read, so it doesn't feel like you're reading a real doorstopper of a book. The next prompt is to read a book about family. Honestly, I could have chosen Anybody Out There for this prompt, and the book I have chosen for this prompt, I could have chosen that for the letter it starts with prompt. But I have gone with Actress by Anne Enright. So I have read a couple of Anne Enright books over the years and enjoyed them. But this one has been lingering on my shelf for quite some time. And I think if I don't get round to reading it in a designated month that I have for reading Irish books, I probably don't want to read this one. So this is me trying to encourage myself to pick it up. It's another book that deals with mother-daughter relationships, and it is the story of an Irish theatre legend told from the perspective of her daughter. And it has two main settings, so post-war America and a kind of shabby 1970s Dublin as well. And the final prompt is to listen to a book on audiobook. So typically every month, at least 2 of the books that I read, I will have actually listened to. And I do have a few options for what I could choose for this because I have like an amazing local library where I have access to so many audiobooks, but I have put a hold on for The Sea by Iris Murdoch. This is another one where it has been on my TBR for a very long time. I don't really know too much about the plot and premise of this book, but it was once described to me as X on the beach with old people. I'm not sure I fully believe that description, but I'm gonna have to find out for myself. And this is another real chunky novel. I think if I'm gonna be able to read 2 real chunksters in the month, all of the other books that I want to read, one of them has to be on audio. So I've gone with this one. That is it. They are all of the books on my TBR for the Irish Readathon. If you're participating in the Readathon, first of all, thank you so much. But second of all, I would love to hear what you are reading. Are you looking for any more recommendations? Of course, if you want to let me know you're here and you don't have anything in particular to say, As with all of my Irish Readathon videos, please leave me a green emoji. As I said, all of the information for the Readathon will be down below in the description. There will be lots more videos coming for the Irish Readathon, so keep your eyes peeled for those. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that button. The Irish Readathon is one of my favourite reading but also creating months, so I'm very excited. That is it from me. I hope you're well, and I'll speak to you in my next video.